Hello everybody, welcome back to the stream. Good to see you all again. Alright, so today we're going to be continuing on with what I did yesterday, which was just working on the combat VFX, trying to make the combat look a little bit more interesting. We still have a number of combat effects to work on, so this is largely going to be just experimenting again, just doing random stuff, seeing what works and seeing what doesn't. So yeah, we will see how it goes, but before I get into it, I want to remind everyone that Alchemortis is available for wishlisting. It's available on Steam. It's a dark fantasy roguelite auto battler where you can use alchemy to create your own synergies. So if that sounds up your alley, definitely give the Steam page a check and wishlist if you're interested. You could also support the game on Patreon. If you subscribe at this $15 a month tier for at least 1 month, then I will send you an Alchemortis Steam key when the game launches, so you won't need to buy the game on Steam. So it's like a pre-purchase essentially, and I will also list your name in the in-game Alchemortis credits. If you choose to stay subscribed for longer than 1 month, definitely would appreciate that. What I'm probably going to do in that case is I'm going to order the credits by whoever gave the most during development. So whoever ends up being top in terms of subscription length will be the first one to be listed in the credits. So anyway, that's just a little detail of how that's going to work. And then also I've got my Udemy courses available for sale. So this is a great way to support me as well, but it's also a great way to learn how to build games in the Godot engine. All those ways of supporting me help me out a lot, but you can also join the Discord. That's totally free. And what else? I think that's it. Just check out the description. Everything's there. Hello, Aunt Ned. Welcome, welcome. Hello, hey, sup, howdy. Hello, how are you doing? Welcome. Hello, Nathan. Hello, Srami Dev. I'm doing well. How are you all doing? How are you all doing? So I got the shield implemented. I'm not sure if I like the shield all too much, but we'll take a look at it. We'll take a gander. Take a look, see. So I've got a shield effect now. So for those that don't have context of what I'm doing, I'm trying to make the combat a little bit more visually appealing. So I've been adding these effects, like you can see that there's a shield that pops up when a card applies shield, and that originates from the card position directly. You can also see that this training dummy is spawning a sword that indicates the damage that the training dummy is doing. So there's some work to do here, but I've already implemented some other effects too, like the skeleton mage will shoot a fireball across to the other board. So I'm just trying to make the combat a little bit more interesting. The goal of fixing these things is to provide a little bit more visual indicator on what cards are doing what. This is not designed to be like a precise indicator, but what it's supposed to do is just tell you, like, roughly speaking, you know, how many cards are dealing fire damage, how many cards are applying shield, and just generally providing something a little bit more visually interesting to look at during combat. So that's the goal here. That's the goal behind the combat, or the VFX reworks here. And we've got a number of other things to do as part of this. Like, I think I need a bleed effect. I also want to do what? A bleed effect. I gotta figure out what to do with poison, that kind of thing. So yeah, we'll figure that out. Hello, Rin. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good to see you again. Why are you looking like Eric today, the dev of Stardew Valley? I don't know what he looks like, but I will take that as a compliment because that is a goated game dev for sure. Hello, Tyler. Good morning to you. Welcome, welcome. Jackie Daytona, good to see you. So I think a bleed effect next would be a good one. Again, I'm just going to get these visual indicators roughly in place, and then we will go ahead and polish those up if they're looking good. But bleed effect is going to be an interesting one. I'm almost kind of tempted to see... Well, we need bleed and poison. Those are the big ones to figure out. I mean, I already have like a poison like vial effect here. I was playing around with this before. We could turn the travel time up. Let's get the ceremonial dagger going. I don't know if I'm going to be able to use this one or if I should come up with a different one. Ceremonial dagger. Love the random path of the fireball. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's just a random Bezier curve that gets, I guess generated is not really the thing. It generates a couple of random parameters for a Bezier curve, and then it just tweens over that curve. So that's, I'm pretty happy with the fireball. I have more stuff that I want to do with the fire effects, but I'm just leaving that aside for now so that we can take a look at the other effects. So there's a poison vial there. That looks kind of weird, but... What does it look like if I do? I mean, maybe that's kind of fun. I don't know. Maybe that's kind of fun. Maybe one thing that I can do to make this a little bit nicer, actually. Let's see. That's the poison, particles, particles impact, particles impact. Actually, let's do this. I'm just going to be lazy here. We're going to copy the fire, this flame particle from here. We're going to put this under. We're going to do visibility, show behind parent. Well, maybe we don't do that just yet. Process material. Why can I not make this unique? Copy, paste as unique. I think there's a very significant bug here with the resources in Godot 4.6. Sometimes I just can't make them unique in place, unless I'm misunderstanding something, but... Display. Alright, so we're actually going to change this spawn position to a point. Okay. And then we're going to change the color curves, color ramp. We're going to do from this color, oops, to this color, and maybe even to that color. Okay. Something like that. And then the color, can I use the color initial ramp here? Color initial ramp. I don't think this is going to work, but we're going to try it. Change this to constant interpolation. Let's do... Oh, that's not going to work. So it must be like multiplicative or something. Yeah, that doesn't work. Okay. So the color initial ramp must be multiplicative with the color ramp there. So that's fine. We'll just leave that in place. And we will also move this down a little bit. And then we will do what? Show behind parent. Let's see if that produces any sort of like meaningful difference. A little bit of a trail, I guess. Satisfying. Yeah, maybe the poison is fine now. That trail is probably fine. Gonna change the lifetime down a little bit and change the amount down a little bit. And also we will change the scale too. We have a curve texture. Let's just do min. That should be fine. So I think what could be useful here is to randomize this travel time a little bit as well. So let's do var travel time is equal to mathutil.rng.randf_range. We'll do travel time minus 0.1 and travel time plus 0.1. And then everywhere where we're using this travel time, we will update that. Okay, and then let's also change, let's change this position to a sphere again. We'll do 2, and we can maybe change the scale a little bit here as well. And then probably turn down the amount even more. Hello, Emerson, welcome back, good to see you. How are you doing? How are you doing? Alrighty. That is appearing behind the board for some reason. Oh, I know what's happening. It's... Oh, that's kind of a bummer. I think we need to move this poison effect. So this poison effect is in the effect player component, but it's playing it on this effect for received ability, but we're going to do it here instead. Actually, I think I copied this whole block, right? Yeah. We need a vector to 2 position here. 2 position is going to be actually other effect player. Let's do poison effect dot global position is equal to other effect player dot global position. We're going to get rid of this 2 position here. It's a little bit weird how this works because this wasn't originally designed this way. And I also want to change this rotation. File angular velocity. 720. Let's do 1440. Okay. Doing great, just started a 4-week vacation yesterday. Oh my goodness. That's quite a vacation. Oh, that is not correct. Also, it seems to be not working. Let's see. Anyway, let's just fix that right now. From position is to local. I think it's poison effect. Poison effect, not to local. 10 stream streak, dang. I think I'm going to get rid of this. I'm going to rename this to Trail. I'm also going to get rid of that extra color here. And we're just going to do this. I think that dark purple was not really working. That's all right though. So it's missing some of those effects. I think that might be related to play effect for source ability. So I have it so that the same card cannot play the same effect multiple times during a frame. So source effects played this frame, try get value base card, source effects played. If source effects played contains the effect type that's coming in, then we're just going to return. Otherwise, we do this and then we say, okay, initialize the list if it's not there, source effects played dot add, and then source effects played this frame. Oh, I'm probably not, yeah, I'm just not resetting it here. I'm going to change this. Reset received effects played this frame. Reset received effects played this frame callable. Private callable reset source effects played this frame callable. And then down here, we're going to do reset source effects played this frame. Okay. So I'm basically just tracking in a single frame what are all the effects that were spawned by that particular card. This will prevent a card that has 4 different poison abilities from shooting 4 different vials at the same time. And the reason I'm doing that is because I think that's just going to add unnecessary visual clutter, as well as, you know, if you get a really ridiculous set of cards and you try to create 20 instances of a poison vial all at once, I'm worried that might create some hitching or some lag. So we're just going to restrict it to just, if this card is doing poison at all, it's just going to do 1 poison effect that represents all of the poison damage that it's doing. And again, these are just purely visual. These are not tied to the logic at all. So these are just a little visual indicator for what's actually going on. So let's get multiple poison abilities going here too. We need a healing effect as well. Probably don't want that hanging around anymore either. So we're going to get rid of all this stuff here. Particles impact we'll keep. We're going to get rid of particles pool. Is that part of this? Yeah, so we're just going to get rid of these particles here. I don't think I had a reference to those, so those can just get yeeted. I'll be spending the whole month playing Dark Souls 3 and some game dev. Nice. Nice, very nice. I gotta get back into some of the Souls games. I think I'm due for another Elden Ring playthrough, but I also don't have that much time these days. Between the game dev and Arc Raiders, it's just I don't have any time left in my budget. So one problem here too is that the rat is sending those effects from the center, but it's kind of weird for the effect to originate here. So what I might do is I might change it to be the drag route, but I don't know. I don't remember where that is. Don't need that anymore. Okay. Anyway. To be honest, I wasn't actually really paying attention. I was thinking about other things. Let's see. Yeah, that looks cleaner to me. Don't have those extra particles hanging around. Now, the other thing that's a problem is that when that card fades out, we have some issues. I don't think I can use canvas groups here because, let me think. If I look at my board, the effect player component is not part of the fade out, I see. Well, we can deal with that later. Visual effects are my favorite type of effect. Hello, Johan, welcome back. What's it look like with more than one potion vial? I think it looks okay. Was looking for some randomness in our arc. Yeah, there's some randomness. What kind of AI assistant helps you write and code in Visual Studio? Well, I don't know about Visual Studio, but Visual Studio Code, I think Microsoft is just calling it Code now or something. I'm using Claude right now. Actually, Claude helped me with a refactor last night. I had to go through, if I look at like my card mouse events manager. So if you saw my Discord post, I posted about updating my source generators to create these connect to signal methods. And so under the hood, what this is doing is this is just taking an action with the right signature, and it's creating a callable from that action, and then it's connecting to the signal name with that callable and the supplied flags, which I think is correct. Yeah. And so this is the source generated code, and I also have disconnect methods here. And so what I did is I told Claude to go through the entire code base and replace all instances of signal connections with this source generated method. And it edited like, I don't remember how many files it was. Let's see. I don't think it's important, but maybe it's interesting. Yeah, so this commit right here, all of these files in this commit, so however many that, it's at least a couple dozen. It changed all of these for me. So this is a case where like the AI assistant is really good. It takes the boring rote stuff that you have to do. Like there's no challenge in any of this, right? The thing would just be I just have to go like search in my code base for wherever I was connecting to signals like this and just manually replace everything. And so I was just able to tell Claude, hey, go in and change everything. And it took like 5 minutes for it to do all of its thinking and stuff, but I just walked away, grabbed something to drink, talked with my wife, and came back, and it was done. And so I was like, that kind of stuff is like really, really good. It takes the boring stuff out of the workflow, the boring, predictable, rote stuff that you would otherwise just be doing by hand while drooling. the AI is really good for. So I love it for that use case. Projectiles will help so much with understanding what's going on and make the boards come alive and not just sit there wiggling. Yeah, I'm hoping that's the case. Visualizing crits will be a lot easier as well. Microslop, they banned the word microslop on their Discord server. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I don't know. That's kind of funny. Microslop. Anyway. I really don't like microslop, but for me, Windows, even with all of its problems, still works the best. I just have to go and rigorously disable all of the Copilot integration into the operating system, and I miss being able to put my taskbar at the top of the screen, but oh well, it's fine. I do have Linux installed as a dual boot on this system now, so maybe someday I'll migrate over and see if I can do all this streaming stuff. One of the main problems, though, is that the NVIDIA stream effects that you can download, that you can then hook into like OBS. So like the background cutout that I'm using right now, there's no NVIDIA SDK for that for Linux, at least not officially supported. So I wouldn't be able to do certain things on this stream if I was using Linux, at least not easily. Anyway, that's a tangent. We don't have to get into that. Okay, update poison effect. So we need bleed. We need bleed, heal, and what else? Bleed, heal, and, well, I guess I could just go to my effect type enum. Damage, poison, fire, shield, heal, and bleed. Is it just heal and bleed that we need? What code language are you using in Godot, and why don't you use GDScript? Hello, Moni. I'm using C#, and the reason I don't use GDScript is because I just prefer C#. It's very easy for me to build the systems that I'm trying to build. I mean, like, there's just all kinds of stuff. Like, look at how many places I'm using interfaces and whatnot to structure my code. Also, the different availability of different, like, data structures and whatnot, like hash sets and whatnot. The availability of link, source generators, all that good stuff. All right, healing. I think I have an idea for healing, but I'm not entirely sure. I actually don't know how I'm going to do it, but let's just go ahead and try it. So what I want to do for the heal here is I want to... What do I want to do? I want to... Let me think about this. I almost want to do like a double helix kind of thing. So like this, kind of. So where it snakes around like that. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that. Am I going to be able to do that with this? Let's turn on trails. I actually don't know how to get trails to work. I've never really used the trail feature in Godot here. Zero, -1. Oh, you know what I'm realizing? No, that's fine. That's fine. Offset. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Why does that not seem right to me? I don't know how to use these trails, to be honest with you. Oh, I guess that makes sense. Let's get rid of the scale curve here. I have never really used this, so I gotta figure out what the heck is going on. Trail lifetime. Oh, that looks kind of good. Problem is the trail is smooth blending the colors, I think. Yeah, do you see the gradient there? So that violates my rule anyway, so I probably can't use that. Unless I just made it a singular color. So if I just get rid of this color ramp. Oh, I'm gonna still need a color ramp, I guess. Color initial ramp. New gradient texture. What happens if I make this constant? Interpolation. Constant. Oh, maybe this will work. Why does it feel like that's kind of choppy? Anyway, orbit velocity. Okay, let's do a new orbit velocity curve. We'll start off at -2. We'll go to +2, -2. Do I need to turn this down to -1 and 1? Yeah, that's probably too many. Okay. Let's get rid of this. Let's just change this to -1 and +1. These trails are interesting. Now I'm worried about this scale curve, actually. It seems like it's not going to work that well. Oh, maybe it does. Maybe if I turn down the lifetime randomness, let's see. Let's just go to 0 here. Yeah, it's just kind of blipping out of existence. How do I get it so that the trail doesn't just blip out of existence? Maybe I just have to put more here. Okay, let's do... I'm just messing around. I don't really know what I'm doing. So... let's do box. Box extents 9. We could probably make this orbit velocity a little bit more. So I think the way that these curves work is that they are multipliers on whatever value is chosen here. I think that's the way it works, but there's really no way to be sure. No, I'm pretty sure that's how it works. And then the initial velocity, we could do 50. So I need those to scale out nicely, but I don't know how I'm going to do that. That is a cool effect. I just don't want these to blip out of existence. I want them to smoothly disappear. Oh, you know what? What I probably need to do actually is I probably need to bring this scale curve. There we go. I can't let the scale curve go to the end of the particle lifetime. I need to do it a little bit before to give time for the trail to catch up. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense, I suppose. But we'll probably want to increase the lifetime as a result. So if I go to my lifetime, let's do 1 second. Oh, maybe that wasn't correct. I don't think... Where's the color ramp? Color ramp, where is it? Fudge. It's so hard to navigate this freaking menu. There we go. I think this is probably a little bit... Let's see. I need something for reference so I know what this is looking like. Oh, this still has show behind parent. Okay. Why does that not look correct to me? Anyway, let's see if we can scale it in as well and see what that does. Scale. Okay, that's kind of interesting. Interesting. Well, we got something interesting going on here. What happens if I make this one shot? Those are still disappearing too early. I almost need to have this like this. Why are they still disappearing too early? Oh, do I still have the lifetime randomness up here? No, I don't. Well, what in the heck, man? Oh, the trail lifetime. Oh, I probably want to change the trail lifetime. Here we go. Oh, there we go. Now we're getting somewhere. Now we're getting somewhere. Okay. All right, we're figuring it out. Heal could be a sparkly effect like in WoW. Gold colored as much as possible. What helps you maintain a consistency when developing games? So, Rin, I think, yeah, we can definitely change the colors here. Sparklies, I don't know how to do sparkles, but we'll see. Oops. Oh no, I just refreshed my freaking chat. Dang it. Anyway, I can't highlight the rest of the comments here, but yeah, we'll figure out. I think maybe gold would be appropriate for sure. What helps you maintain consistency when developing games? Just the discipline. You just got to get into a habit of working on your game on a regular basis. And the big thing is to keep up the momentum, right? Because inertia is a real thing. If you are consistently working on your game, it's easier to keep consistently working on your game. And if you take a break from working on your game for a longer period of time, it's harder to get back into it, right? So just making sure the inertia is on your side. But yeah, just having the discipline to work on your game regularly. And it doesn't need to be like, you don't want to be beholden to a schedule that you set for yourself necessarily. Like, you don't need to micromanage it and plan it out to an extreme degree. But even like if one day you work on your game for 15 minutes and then the next day you work on your game for 2 hours and then the next day you do for like 30 minutes, the key part is that you're just like doing something on your game to keep that momentum going. And yeah, that's basically it. I mean, there's no trick to it really. It's just that. Hello, Snupbill. Welcome back. Good to see you. If you unlock the particles from the particle object to make the trail behind the object. I don't know what you mean. So these trail lifetimes need to go down. So we'll try this. Maybe we'll do a little bit of lifetime randomness here and turn this lifetime up a little bit. Actually, let's put this back to 0.5. And then we'll increase the velocity maybe. Okay, let's see what that does. So I'm gonna need to do something interesting with this. But let's just go ahead and see what we can do. So this is one shot. So I'm gonna want to do this. Add child node animation player. We want to go to trail here. Animation new default. Auto. Turn on the emitting here. And then we'll do call method track, heal, insert key, cue free. All right, well, put the heal in there. I need to get rid of all these strings and stuff, but that's okay. Base card ability dot effect type enum dot heal. Heal effect opposition is equal to 2 local. We want the bottom position. So let's do public vector 2 bottom center position. Okay. Now we need some healing things. So we need lamb, bone, ring. What else heals? I have a way of seeing this. Card inspection tool. We can filter by... Oh, I see you have a chat here, Emerson, that I missed. There's a PR open for Trail 2D node. That would be awesome for 4.7. Oh, interesting. Okay. So it's like a separate node. Let's do heal, ally, Lambone ring, morel. Ooh, we could try with the morel. And then what else? Apply 5 poison to self. I actually don't know how the plague mask is going to work. We should test that. Okay. Let's see what happens. Let's just start with the morel and the lambone ring. See how this looks in game, if it looks any good. Oh, this doesn't heal by itself. Hey, that looks pretty good, actually. Can't really complain about that. Let's go back to heal here. So the morale doesn't actually do anything, but I also want to try the plague mask and see what this does. This should launch a poison at myself, I think. Nope, it's launching at the enemy. Oh, it is applying poison to the enemy. But it's also applying it to self, so that's not being indicated. So probably we want to make that heal effect span the length of the card or something. That's probably what we're going to want to do. You like it? Maybe also outline it or something. Let's see. Okay, let's try changing some of these colors here. And again, I can tweak all these. I just want to get these working in a good enough way first. Something like that. We'll see. The VFX looks crisp as heck. Thank you. Yeah. And once I put even more effort into polishing these things up, I think it'll look pretty good. But we'll see. Yeah, I don't really have any complaints about that. I mean, there's still some stuff to do, but I think that's fine. Okay, you could create an instance of the particle emitter for each grid cell at the bottom of the card. Yeah, I could. I don't want to be instancing too many things at once though. But I guess I also don't want to make this. I'd have to make this particle process material local to scene so I could change the properties of it. But yeah, we'll have to think about that. Maybe, yeah, maybe just one instance for each part of the cell. Maybe that would be the way to do it. So that's a good idea. Okay. Hello, Chris. Sorry about spacing on streams lately. That's all right. No need to apologize. Welcome back. Good to see you again. I see new VFX on cards. Yes, we're going to try to make the combat a little bit more visually interesting. I mean, generally, we want to make the game as visually interesting as possible. Just because that's the way we do things, you know? But VFX is not exactly my strong suit. I mean, I can do the art, but when it comes down to like making the interactive parts of the game and the shaders and all that stuff, definitely stuff that I need to work at a little bit. But it's okay, it's getting there. Did you figure out the collection screen? I did, yes. I migrated everything over to the rendering server. So if I go to my unlock menu here and I run this, this is running very, very fast now. So to instantiate all these cards, well, it took 63 milliseconds because it was startup, but if I go back, it's taking 9 milliseconds to place 89 cards. And I think there's, I mean, it can go down as low as 7 milliseconds. So I think there's still room to improve something here, but this is very, very fast compared to the 115 milliseconds that it took before. So look at this, we're down to 6 milliseconds to place all those cards. So I think there is an opportunity here to do something even more performant here. But we will solve that problem when we get there. We'll burn that bridge when we get there. So that's for 89 cards. So, I mean, if you project that out to, let's say there's 300 player cards ultimately in the game, you know, we're looking at, assuming this is just going to take a straight, you know, 3x multiple of that, we're looking at 18 milliseconds, which, you know, may be too long because that exceeds a frame budget, but again, we have to get there before I figure that out. But I definitely think there are things I can do to make this even faster. Like, I think a lot of the time, not a lot of the time, but some of the time is coming from figuring out the positions in which to place the cards. So I could conceivably pre-compute the positions and store those somehow. So I don't need to do that logic when I create this screen. So yeah. Does it still support hovering? Yes. Good morning. Okay, water. Okay. Yeah, the card is a full drop-in replacement, so everything that I could do on the card previously is currently still supported. So actually, the entire system changed. It's not just the menu. Every card in the game now, whenever it's instantiated, uses the rendering server, and you can't really tell a difference. So these are still nodes, but the card rendering server node just looks like this now in the editor. What? Where did it go? Why can't I find it? What? Oh, it's not a node, that's why. Alright, it's not a scene. It's not actually a scene, it's just a pure class that I instantiate. But it's just a single node 2D now being instantiated for each card. And I think there may be a way where I can do this even without needing to create a node 2D. But anyway, so the card rendering server now is just, I think, 2 nodes. It's a node 2D, but it's also the control node that handles the hover area. So yeah, you can make an export variable from the particle box size for the root node of the scene and modify it from another script, at least in GDScript. The problem is not modifying the particle box size. The problem is that the resource is going to be shared by reference by default. And so changing the particle box size is going to require having a unique material each time. So it's not, and an export variable wouldn't work either because I need to set it programmatically. Claude or GPT? I've been using Claude recently. I like Claude. Works pretty good. Congrats on the optimization. Thank you. Yeah, I'm probably gonna do a little bit of a deep dive YouTube video into everything that I did, but it's actually really easy. Like, the rendering server basically just has one-to-one functionality of what you see in the editor. So for example, to replicate a sprite node, all you do is you just create a canvas item. So every node 2D is a canvas item essentially. And so you create a canvas item from the rendering server. You have to store the RID. That's the only thing, the resource ID, so you can free it later. So you have to manage the RID references yourself. But you create the canvas item, and then you can, like, you basically just set up the node tree with the rendering server. So you can set the parent of a canvas item, you could set the transform of a canvas item, you could set the texture of a canvas item. And so basically what I did is I just used the rendering server to recreate the node tree that was previously just baked into the packed scene. But instead of instantiating a bunch of nodes, it's just creating the resources with the rendering server immediately. And you can still do stuff like you could still, like I'm loading materials up here. You could still assign materials to the canvas items through the rendering server, and you can modify the uniforms, all that stuff. So like canvas item set instance shader parameter, or canvas item set material, canvas item set visible. So everything's available there. It's just like, it's just a little bit more verbose than doing it through the editor, but it was very easy to translate over. Like once I understood that the rendering server was just basically a one-to-one mapping of the functionality that's available to you in the editor. I mean, the way of thinking about it is that the Godot editor is just a visual way of setting up the rendering server resources. That's basically all that it is. I mean, there's more to it than that, but so once that clicked for me, it was just a matter of replicating that entire node structure in the rendering server without nodes, right? It's not easy or fun work. No, it's not. I mean, it was kind of fun to figure this out, but then once I had it figured out and I just had to port everything over, that's when it became kind of not so fun. Hello, Matthias. How has AI Claude been helping you? Well, just last night, Claude did a massive replacement of a bunch of method calls that I needed to make. So that was nice. It's been helping me with optimization stuff. If I can ask it questions about what's not working. I use it very often for bug hunting. So I'll go into a class and I'll say, there's a bug here. Here's what's happening. Here's the expected behavior. Find the bug for me. So I don't need to spin my wheels, especially on bugs that are not so obvious. I can just say, here's the desired behavior. Here's what's currently happening. And here's the relevant classes. Find the bug. And I would say maybe 9 or 8 times out of 10, it identifies the bug correctly the first time, and then I just go and fix it, and it's done. So yeah, those kinds of things are very useful to use the AI with. Figured anything you could do with the editor was something that can be manually controlled. Yeah, that seems to be the case. So yeah, it was pretty easy, pretty easy, all things considered. I have no complaints about that at all. So yeah, anyway, I'm going to take a quick 3-minute break, and when I come back, we will continue on with the visual effects. We need an effect for what the bleed application should look like. So if you have an idea for that, let me know, and I'll be right back in just 3 minutes. Hello, I'm back. Hello, talking heads. Would you mind explaining why you use signal delegates over C# events? Generally speaking, I think it's just I don't want to mix different observer patterns. So I just stick to the Godot way of doing things because you have to use the signal, the signal method for connecting to nodes in certain situations. I mean, even if you use the event style signal connection, it's still being powered by the Godot signal system under the hood. So I just don't want to mix different observer patterns. So I just stick to signals. Yeah, I think that's it. I am breaking that rule a little bit because I did move some of the stuff from the card away from using references. So like, for example, the card buff container here, this used to extend ref counted, but now it doesn't. But there are certain like signals that I needed to move over. So I'm using events in this situation because these are not extending any sort of Godot objects. And the same for the base card. I removed ref counted from this base card as well. So I am using just C# events in this case, but then I have to manage the disconnection of all these events myself in a lot of situations. Whereas with the Godot signals, those are nice because once you queue free something, the signals get disconnected automatically as well. So anyway, but obviously, you know, the event system works and it's fine. I just prefer not to mix and match different ways of doing the same thing. Find it easier to find references to signals when using event action. Yeah, I mean, you should certainly just do whatever's easiest for you. Okay, we need a bleed effect. What is the bleed effect gonna look like? What is the bleed effect gonna look like? I actually don't really know. Dripping on or around the card. Yeah, so it's like, I need an effect for the card inflicting bleed. I guess there could be bleed that comes from the card itself, but I guess that feels kind of weird to me. I need to update the damage effect too. I'm not sure if I really like that sword anymore. I was thinking more like when the bleed procs. Oh yeah, when the bleed procs, that could definitely work, but right now I'm focused on the application of bleed, whatever visual effects could be done for that. Could be a nail or a bite that causes the bleeding. A bite would be interesting. A bite could be interesting. Let me think about that. Can I make something work like that? Let's see. I just want to open up the shield. What is this? This is 32 by 32. So let's just make a black background so I can see. Just try sketching something up, I guess. I realize that this doesn't look super good, but just bear with me for a second. I was thinking something, I don't know, trying to make it look kind of like Jaws or something. You know what I mean? Which will clamp down. Problem is, I don't think those look very much like Jaws, but that's okay. So we could do something like that, where these just kind of like slam together. The other thing I'm thinking of now is we could do something maybe like a bear trap or something. Would that look good? Now I gotta figure out how to draw a bear trap. Goodness gracious. Actually, well, I don't know if this is gonna turn out that great. Maybe it needs to be more. It's a very rough sketch. Bear trap. Vampire teeth that chomp, commonly associated with bleeds. Yeah, I just don't know how to draw that, to be honest. I don't know how to draw that. So, vampire teeth are like... Let's see. Let's see if I could just do the teeth first. So I've got the fangs, right? And then what? Like more fangs here? This is kind of along the lines of what I did before. The problem is I don't really... You know, I'm still dealing with the restriction of I can't do frame-by-frame animation. So I gotta figure out how to animate this. So maybe if this, like, came down and rotated... No, I can't rotate either. It could rotate this way. And then clamp down. We might be able to make something like that work. Maybe? Let me tell you what. Let me... Oops. We need to remove this. And we just get these exported. And I'll see if I can animate these. And then if the animation looks decent, what I can do is then go in and update the art a little bit. But let's just see if this works. Assets, effect, combat, bleed. .a sprite. How VFX are made. You're watching it right now. New effects are looking really good, thank you. 2 outer larger teeth and then 2 inner smaller teeth for the top. It's a very Pokemon VFX, so I'm biased the way it looks, gotcha. I think it would look more like Jaws without the big tooth in the middle of the top jaw. Okay, play around with it. Knife or a sickle that rakes across the card. So the problem is this has to originate from the card. So a knife dragging across the card would indicate that the card is the one receiving the bleed, not the one dealing the bleed. That was with the old art. This one looks good. Okay. Check the Discord game dev channel. Oh yeah, I see. I got you. We're gonna see if this works. So we're going to try it. We're going to see what happens. We want to do the rotation as well as the position. Okay, let's turn on record. Something like that, and then bleed bottom. We're going to do the same thing. Position, rotation. Okay. Probably also going to want to change the scale here, but that's okay. So let's copy these keys. Go to default here. Paste those keys. Paste those keys. Thank you. Okay, this is going to need to be a lot quicker, obviously. These probably need to be more exaggerated here. Position. Okay. Scale 0. 1. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Insert. Nope. We want to do bleed bottom scale. Zero. Then we do 0 here as well. Oh, that scale is not going to work, actually. We need to scale the whole thing out, so we're going to need to add a scale here. This position here. Maybe we don't want the bounce, actually. Oops. Maybe something like that? I don't know. We'll have to see. Well, we'll see what happens. You can add red tint to it with some of the pixels to add some accent. Yeah, I'm gonna color it in if the animation looks alright. Do you feel limited in any way by Godot engine when making games? Any reason you went with Godot instead of Unity? Do I feel limited in any way? Not really, no. Not for the kind of games that I make. But also, like, even if I was limited in some ways that I could think of, I mean, there's definitely quirks of Godot that you have to find workarounds for and whatnot, but I don't think limitations are necessarily a problem. I actually think limitations can be good for your creativity. That's why I'm like, I have voluntary limitations. Like, I'm not allowed to do frame-by-frame animation, right? And I'm not allowed to do... the only colors that can ever appear on the screen ever have to be one of the 8 colors in the palette. So that means that I can't use transparency, I can't use gradients, I can't use any of that, right? But those are limitations that I imposed upon myself, with the goal of that being that it's going to cause me to have to think creatively about how to represent and do different things in the game in a very visually consistent way. So there's no frame-by-frame animations. There's only ever 8 colors that I can use, no in-between colors or anything like that. And those limitations are hard to work around sometimes, but that's kind of the point. The point is that those will force you to think creatively about things. So even if Godot did have a limitation in some way or whatever, I don't know if that would necessarily be a deal breaker. It could be that just gives me something creative to work around, you know what I mean? Needs to overshoot or antip. Wouldn't it be better to make bleed top visually above bleed bottom? Sure. You can't really tell though, I mean, that's the thing, it's going to be so fast in game that you're not going to be seeing it. Bleed bottom sounds like something you go to doctor for. Scale in might be too long. Can we see what these effects look like with the alchemical apparition? The alchemical apparition? I don't know what you mean, Jack. Okay, let's just go ahead and add the scythe real quick, get rid of the plague mask. The guy who applies every effect. Oh, right. What was it called? Aberration. Yeah, we could definitely see that. That would be a good test case. It's not applying bleed at all. Yeah, that would definitely be a good test case. Of course, this is still dealing damage. Do I have anything that just applies bleed? I guess the flagrum kind of does that. That kind of works. Let's see. Let's see what that does. I think it would look nice if the chomp moved forward like the blade does. Yeah, we could do that. Maybe lunge the whole animation forward to symbolize attacking something else. Yeah, we could do that. Let's see. Flagrum. Yeah, so if we made it go forward a little bit, shoot. Probably gonna need to do another node 2D in here. Move this under visuals, make sure my animation didn't break. Okay, and then this visuals here. Let's do transform position. Oh, this is gonna have to, well, I think it gets scaled, so it's fine. Insert key. Let's just move this over by like 10 pixels. That's just gonna be linear though. So if we move this down, oh, but that's scaling out from here. I need to scale the visuals here. So let's go to reset animation. This scale needs to become visuals scale, and then we go to the default animation and we change this to visuals scale. We can change this position to be a little bit over more. We'll see how that looks. We will see how that looks. We could add some particle effects and stuff too. Obviously, I also want to probably add some color to this, but let's see. I think that updated the animation automatically, but let's just give it a rerun to see. How's that looking though? Is that looking better? It looks better already. I think it's looking pretty decent. I was thinking about moving the actual card forward too. So when the card executes, it just scales up a little bit, but I was wondering if maybe it would be good to like actually move the card toward the board when it's doing an offensive ability, just to give it a little bit of extra motion there. But I think that looks pretty good. I might extend this duration just a little bit. Give it a little bit more rest time before it scales out. Hello, Clickertail. Welcome back. Good to see you again. How are you doing? So obviously we need some other kind of visual indicator that bleed is being applied there. Maybe we'll do some kind of like blood splash or something. This is not flipping it correctly. If flip effect. I'm no longer changing that bleed scale either, so that should work. I'm doing good today, just been busy doing schoolwork. So let's see what it looks like. So this is applying every effect so we can kind of see what they look like layered. It's a little bit much, but we'll figure out a solution for that as well. I mean, it could be as simple as, like, I don't play an effect for every ability. Maybe I just choose, like, so if we do the aberration like Jack said, this applies like everything. So it's going to be applying all the visual effects at once. Maybe there's a solution for that. It could be as simple as just slightly randomizing the position of all the effects too, so they can kind of like be spaced out from each other a little bit more. But yeah, that goes and it just creates all these effects on top of each other. I think maybe it'd be cleaner. I mean, I don't know. I could just choose a random effect to display. We'll have to think about that. Pick the one doing the most damage. Yeah. We could definitely do that. Stagger the VFX. Yeah, so the problem though is like what happens if you're on the highest speed? I don't want the effects to lag so much that the card has already gone through maybe another turn or another 2 turns before the effects from its previous turns have finished playing. So that's the problem, right? It's like I don't want to interrupt the combat flow just to show the VFX. But if I stagger the VFX or if I delay them in certain, like the reason why the VFX animation is so quick is because it has to be able to work well with this, like, max speed, right? At 1x speed, you know, the effects have time to play and everything, but then at 3x speed, it's like, you know, you got all this going on. That looks more visually satisfying, though. It's a little bit noisy, but that definitely looks better. Could have a unique multi-effect particle. Maybe. I don't think it even looks that cluttered. Maybe with more cards on the board, it will get worse, though. Shouldn't the VFX be in the opposite direction? What do you mean by opposite direction? That the bite is a bit confusing. It's supposed to be like the card has jaws and it's biting the direction of the enemy, or is the bite spawning on top of the enemy card? The bite is spawning from the card that's applying the bleed. So maybe when you're confused by the training dummies also applying bleed. So both of these cards are doing the jaw animation, but that's because both of them are applying bleed. Oh, you got it. So maybe that was an old comment. As if the card is being bit. Well, that's what the forward motion is supposed to be. It's supposed to be like an attack. But if it's not clear, we can fix it. Randomizing the position a bit would be good. Yeah, I see it now. It was a little weird at first, but I haven't seen much combat so far in your stream, so I think it would be more clear if I had previous context of what card attacks look like. Good morning, Ninja Link. Welcome back. Okay. So I think that's, I mean, that's decent. I might have to do some work on maybe the, maybe the art is fine. Maybe if I just added some shading here, but I unfortunately do not have time for that. I have to get a lot of stuff done this afternoon, so I'm going to commit this initial work on bleed. Going to commit that. Now it's saved in the cloud where we all know that no data can ever be lost. So I feel safe about that now. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to end the stream there. I have a whole plate full of things to do, like I said. But thank you all for watching. Thank you for being here. You can wishlist Alchemortis on Steam if you're interested. And yeah, I appreciate all your support. I will probably not be streaming this afternoon, but I'll be back at it tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern, so I hope to see you there. And we'll probably be continuing on with visual effects tomorrow, but we'll see. We'll see. Anyway, that's it for the stream. Take care, everyone. Hope you have a good day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.